wow, I can really help a lot of people out there in interior design and help them grow their business and help them unlock their own value and help them do so many different things that people don't necessarily think of accountants as being able to do. We've already shown that we can do that. And we already have waiting lists and we can't hire fast enough. And they're all good problems. And there's a whole lot of people out there that really need this. And then if the housing market crashes and contractors are out of work, then it's like, then I'll just be able to lean into another vertical.
Right. I thought you said niche, but I heard you say niche earlier.
It is niche. Yeah.
I think they're both spelled Vertical. I think that's how they're both spelled because that's a common way of everybody saying it and nobody has to argue about the pronunciation. So verticals. Let's go deep into verticals. Hello and welcome. We are all the sons and daughters of CPAs. Join us as we question the current state of the accounting and tax industry with the next generation of professionals leading this space. We are the change agents in an industry fraught with money and inertia. Let's begin the Sons of CPAs with your only host today, Scott Scarano, and a very special guest, Marissa McKinney-Jones, MMJ.
MMJ. Artist formerly known as Eminem.
Artist formerly known as Eminem. That just is alliteration to its fullest, right? Like he does all of that, but that's a rapper. You're not a rapper, are you?
At Moonlight as a rapper.
But it's more of like a stage name.
Marilyn Monroe, Marissa McKinney, just wait.
I know. McKinney's your stage name, I think. Okay, well, let's really, for real. What do you do?
What do I do? Well,
what's the name of your firm? I should
run.
introduce the name of your firm, right?
Sure, yeah. Right now I have 2 firms for CAS, different services. So one is interior design, and that's a very specific vertical. I have a partner on that one. And then I have Logistis, which is like the OG 1.0, which is like my catch-all firm. It's my baby, but primarily our client base is professional services, creative agencies.
Professional services, creative agencies. That's a pretty big. Professional services is a pretty big genre, right? Like
yeah. I know
like
you think of it, kind of think like medical or dental or something like that, but definitely not. It's more creative agencies, social media, PR, marketing, scouts, talent, things like that. Influencers, a lot of that stuff. And then, being in LA, of course, that's where I started. It was a lot of client opportunities for that particular industry.
Yeah. I mean, everywhere you go now, to a certain degree, there's influencers for everything now.
Yeah.
Like it's there's influencers in our accounting space. I think like people are referred to as influencers. And do you have a firm? No. Do you do anything? No. All right. What do you do? I'm an influencer. Oh wow. Okay. Let's have you on the podcast, right?
That was funny. My friend, this weekend we were in Big Sur. We were having a conversation about, well, what do most people in LA want to do? And somebody leans in and is like, everybody wants to be an influencer.
Yep. Influencers don't do anything, right? It's just do. You just be you, right? That's an awesome way to be. Like I think if anybody paid me to be me, then I wouldn't be anything, right? I would be an influencer. I don't really know what I am. Like I'm not an entertainer.
You're trying to tap into the influencer market right now with your podcast. I think influence all kinds of accountants.
Keyword. Trying. And I'm not really even trying. I just want to.
No, you're succeeding. Hey, you're growing.
Growing
you're doing better day by day.
Growing my accounting firm. That's what my head is back into growing the firm. And my head is like, I've been fucking around, or I've been messing around all year. Now I got to put my head back to the books. I think I need to. At least that's what I'm telling me.
If we started recording before 4:20, I would have been all right.
You're a little high right now. I'm going to read everything and you can ad-lib.
Yeah, I like this.
Okay.
Let's go. Tax Bandits ad.
Tax Bandits is a modern, full-service tax filing platform. File 1099s, 941s, W-2s, 1095s, and many more additional forms with Tax Bandits' sleek, modern interface. With a few clicks of a button, you can upload your client's tax information directly into Tax Bandits, either with a direct integration with Xero, QuickBooks Online, or use a CSV. Once the data is in Tax Bandits, you can check the recipient's TIN with best-in-class TIN verification, and then safely and securely deliver to your clients or your clients' customers their tax forms.
So that's a great use case. I think I'm going to do that. Tell me about the verification. Is it secure?
It's secure. And when you're in-app, it does it for you automatically. Apparently you can only data verify 3 times before it'll deliver, so they'll verify it twice. They figured all that shit out. They'll also mail out your 1099 forms for you for additional fee. Everyone has those clients. They won't ever open their email for the 1099s. You got to mail it to them. You just click a button. Tax Bandits will handle that for you.
So, is it built for accounting firms?
Tax Bandits is also built for accounting firms. They have completely redesigned their user interface to make it easy for you and your team members to quickly and efficiently deliver tax forms to your clients. Some accounting firm features include managing all your clients from one login. You can have multiple user permissions for your staff, real-time client communication in-app with clients, bulk distribution of recipient codes, and multiple payment options for your firm.
Well, that was recipient copies, not codes. But we don't have a code for them, do we?
No.
So visit taxbandits1099.com. I don't even know their website.
It's literally on the next line you're supposed to read.
So get started today by visiting taxbandits.com.
So if you were to put your day in percentages, what does that look like for you?
Wow, this has turned into the podcast of asking me questions. No, that's a good question. I think the percentages have to be sleep is the highest percentage, and that's what I've really been trying to if I had a time block for sleep, I've been trying to do that for 10-hour time block, because usually I only get 8 hours of sleep if I have a 10-hour time block. So that's my first one, and then it's working out has a bit of a time block, and then sleeping has I already said sleeping. Eating has a bit of a time block too, and I have to make time for those so I can work better. So it's a good question. I mean, because then work falls into the middle there. I still haven't taken a shower yet because I was working out and I had a bunch of calls, and now I have a podcast. How about you? What is
Well, I tried to do a twofer, so I walked into the office today to try and get my exercise on my way to this padded room for the podcast.
Thank you for being in a padded room. There's no.
I don't know if it's helping or not.
No,
that high-tech mic, but
if you don't have echoing, the rest of it you could work with, right? The echoing has been hard. I edited the Ian's episode from Carbon, and he had a lot of echoing, so I tried to use our soundproofing technology tool called Studio Sound, and some of it sounds auto-tuned, so you won't sound auto-tuned. But for anybody that listened to that one months ago, which was just released today, Big Sur, I want to hear more about that. That's not our topic, but
I want to be more about that.
Yeah, really.
So nice.
How long have you been going to Big Sur? What's your connection there? You live close to it, or?
Yeah, for us, it was a 3.5-hour drive to where we were going. My husband is from Monterey, which is about an hour north of that. So sometimes when we have the time, we just take the coast up and do the Big Sur thing. This weekend, it was just about going to Big Sur. And I didn't have any service. Big Sur never does. There's no place you can go to get service. It's really incredible. The second I got into this no service zone, I realized how long it had been since I was planning on spending a weekend in the woods with no service. And I was immediately freeing. It was pretty great. You relinquished all notions of what you're supposed to be doing, and you just surrender to time. It's cool.
I love that, an unplugged. Yeah. That's literally unplugged, and that's what happens when I go to Mexico too. Is you forget how long you've been unplugged and you're enjoying it, and then when you have to plug in, it's at first it could be a dopamine release. Oh, I get to check all my stuff. That's what a lot of people do. But then it just turns it's a matter of your mindset of how you're looking at it too. I don't like getting plugged back in. I like staying unplugged, but you can't. I don't think you can.
Yeah. Well, I don't do any social media myself. I mean, my companies have social media, which are minimally maintained. Yeah, I don't do any of that stuff myself because it's just not something that I want to add into my percentages of my day.
Yeah. So your company does it and you don't. And I don't like I don't like social media at all. I try not to be on those, but now because of this silly podcast that I have to post my episodes, and I'm paying attention to that now. And I never paid attention to it before, but it's like,
Okay, so for when it comes to like work, how much of your day is work and how much of your day is podcast or other
oh,
stuff?
okay. That was the
Yeah.
question. I think
Well, I
it's,
mean, that was a part of it, which I didn't get from me.
so no, and you didn't. So I think I'm spending like 4 or 5 hours a week just on this podcast, and then
Mhm.
the rest of it's just work, and I don't know how many hours that is. Like, I don't really track my time. I just have a lot of meetings and a lot of stuff, a lot of email. That's what I spend most of my time doing. I think I spend definitely more than 5 hours in my email, but that's not just in your email, right? You got to pick this up. Okay, look into this, do this, and then what I think might be an hour checking my email turns into 3 or 4 on most days.
But you're a carbon user. Shouldn't it be not living in your email?
I'm living in my triage. That's what I'm
Living in your
doing.
email.
And when I'm in my triage, I got to jump to a work item from there and look at the work item. And then it's like I can't get through all of it. So, and usually it's just bigger things that are coming up for me. I'm not really in the client work. It's communications, and it's just context shifting too. Within that triage is where I live. I don't even go into my Gmail anymore. But how about you? Are you using Carbon now too? Or
Yeah, I've used carbon for a long time.
so how much time do you spend in your triage?
Well, I don't do client work either anymore. So the time that I spend in my triage is more for growth strategy stuff. So like that's kind of where I spend the majority of my time.
So your head's above water, right? You're not
My head is
swimming with the
above
fishes.
water for now. Yeah, I mean, we're a small company, so one of the wheels falls off, I'm pretty screwed. But so far, I've been able to
You've got to put the
maintain.
wheel back on first,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
your job. Like
Hopefully, I
everything
can
falls
find
under.
a nice wheel to patch back on there. But my wheels are pretty sturdy. They're the Michelin wheels, I guess.
Well, at least you're not causing the wheels to fall off. I tend to be the one that causes the wheels to fall off in my firm, and then
Oh,
I
yeah?
tell somebody else to fix it. How did you get started in this? You're not a CPA, right?
I'm not a CPA. Definitely not a daughter of a CPA.
Okay.
No. In fact, nobody in my family understands what I do. And maybe that's why I have such a hard time when people ask, what do you do? Like, accounting. I know that's the most boring answer. And I definitely don't have a good elevator pitch for when people ask that question.
What's the next question you get after you say accounting? Do they say, do you do taxes?
Yep. Are you? Yep. And they say, do you do taxes? Are you a CPA? And then I say no. And then they really look at me confused.
Then what do
I
you
didn't
do?
understand the first part, and then I really didn't understand the second part. Yeah, I went to school for accounting, and then I worked in finance, and nothing ever stuck. And then I ended up just kind of always having that in my back pocket. And so when I had my first daughter, that's when I started my own business. I was working executive assistant when I moved to LA, and I was also doing their accounting,
Where did you
primarily
move from
bookkeeping and things
to
like
LA
that.
from? Where did you
From
move to?
Florida. I was in
Florida.
Florida for a while. Yeah, South
Florida girl.
Florida.
All right.
No,
Not a Florida girl? No?
No,
Okay.
I'm from Santa Barbara. Yeah.
Oh, so you moved back. All right.
So when I graduated from UCSB in Santa Barbara, I worked at various companies here and I worked in mostly like hedge fund companies and things like that. I wasn't really a big fan of that particular type of work. And a lot of the stuff was very remedial data entry level positions. I know all the kids that I graduated with were all moving on to the big fours in LA. And I just heard what a nightmare it was because they'll stick you in audit and
Yeah.
you'll hate it and then you'll leave. And I was like, maybe that's not for me. So, and I worked for some tax preparers here and I helped them as their assistant. And then I came back to it, and I, as a business owner, it's like I just kind of grew organically, and then all of a sudden was like, oh shoot, I'm getting a little big, really not intending on starting a company.
Yeah.
And then having like 3 or 4 employees and not really feeling like I had a good grasp on what people were doing and how to manage all of that and how to have those quality controls set up. You just figure it out. If you're tenacious and you have that attitude, I think anybody can do it. So when I got to about 4 employees, I was like, okay, if all these people are counting on me, as their boss and to provide them their own livelihood for their families and everything else that comes along with being a boss, I really need to be intentional about what I want to do here. And
I have a question
then,
about that.
yeah.
So I don't know when I really decided I'm not the boss of this because I answer to everybody. I answer to my employee. Like, I'm not even the boss at my house. My wife is, and I'm not the boss at the
Yeah.
office. Like, I do have to make some decisions, but most of the time, every decision I make is in the context of the client or the employees. I'm not my own boss for damn
Yeah.
sure. Like, I'm their, well, okay, wait, I'm not my own boss. I'm not their boss. Like, that's what I've been trying to figure out. Like, who's the boss here? Right.
Yeah.
So being a boss, right? At that point, did you still consider yourself the boss? So
Yeah. I never felt like, oh, now I have a choice whether I want to do this anymore. It was like, no, people are counting on me. Now you don't have a choice. Now you
yeah,
just got to do it. Being where I'm at, I'm able to be a little more nimble. I have the right butts and the right seats. And during COVID, when we kind of downsized because a lot of our clients were shut down, I was able to take a moment, take a breath, and just figure out, okay, I don't know what I want to do next. I don't know what I'm super interested in learning about. And I don't know what I want to focus on for my client base. And then just sitting on that and being okay with that for a little bit. And then finally having something that sparks my interest come along.
I
Which
love
is,
that part. Yeah, I mean that's more or
yeah,
less you're internally, trying to figure out how you want to go in the future, so the other stuff doesn't feel as taxing and
yeah,
as difficult. If you don't know where you're headed and you're trying to make all these decisions, you don't really have that
yeah,
guiding light. But for some people, when you get very introspective, it's about enjoying the space that you're at too. It's not about the struggle to get there, but it's about enjoying that struggle because there is no there. You're just climbing.
and balancing that with your clients' needs and your staff's needs. In a service-based firm, it's like you balance your desires with their needs and you find some middle ground on that. So keeping a pulse on how your employees are feeling or what they want to do and pairing that with the direction that you want to go in. And so that was probably 3 years ago where I was like, okay, I need to get my butt in gear and make this more of a solid foundation to support the growth that I plan on delivering. And then we just had this giant like client base for interior designers. And so I'm trying to do these like marketing campaigns, and it was just getting too muddled together, right? Like you kind of have to be specific and develop a niche or at least a focus. And it allows you to speak to your clients better.
Does it allow
Trying
you to go
to,
deeper with the clients too?
it
To do
totally
more?
allows you to go deeper with the clients. Yeah. And you can cookie cutter it out and you can have these service offerings that are very specific to the industry, but very easy to implement for your own firm because you just do over and over and over a format, a formula that you can teach people. And it's
So
not so top
processes.
heavy. Yeah.
hmm So did
Yeah.
your firm have that, or were you kind of everywhere across the board at that point?
So our team was basically like servicing all different kinds of people, and then it was all getting mixed up. And then finally we had this, this big base of interior designers. And I had one employee who was kind of a rock star. She was like, I love working with the interior designers. I would love to have our own division in this. And I was like, well, let's start it. Let's just break off and do a whole nother company on this. I'll make you a partner. You can basically build this with your ambition, and you can help me in the areas that I need help with in terms of my time constraints and being spread too thin, running a general service based practice. So,
And that was
um,
Logistis was more or
so
less the general service then?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was
And
like, oh, people would come and we would just take them if we liked them. you know?
no, that's
Yeah,
to a
yeah,
certain degree, that's still what I'm doing at my firm. We
yeah,
never hit that point where we switched off. So this is really cool. So
yeah.
what do you call the interior design firm again?
So it's Logistis for designers.
I like how you just added for designers.
Yeah, totally two different companies, just share the name basically. But
Do you have employees that bridge the gap between the two?
we have one person who kind of, or they're two different people for our taxes and sales tax, but they go over back and forth. But in terms of the
Clock in and clock
actual,
out almost? Is that
yeah,
what they're okay? Different carbon instances too for each one?
different carbons. Yep. But
Ooh,
luckily,
okay.
Carbon was able to, so all the templates that we built in my first company, Carbon was able to just copy those into the next one and roll over clients. So we gave them a list. They were able to roll over all of our existing clients into the new Carbon.
The data too? Were you able to pull in
Yeah.
historical? That's
Everything.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm sorry. I don't think they were able to pull through like old emails and things like that. Yeah, because it was associated with a different email address. But everything else they were able to.
Notes and things like that. Anything that you did, yeah, okay. That makes sense. Do you have an acronym for interior? LFD, maybe?
Yep.
That's what you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Like I got clients that have started as one business, and then when they do another one, it's whatever they call it, acronym.
Yeah.
Easiest way to split them out. So
yeah. The other one I'm playing with is Fetty Wallet.
What?
Fetty Wallet.
Fetty Wallet. It's like Fetty Wap, but Fetty Wallet. All right. I don't know what Fetty means. What's the Fetty part of it?
It means money.
Okay. I didn't know Fetty meant money. That's a new thing for me. Like, is
really?
Fetty?
You didn't know that, of all people?
I'm really big into rap too.
What about like that Freddie Gibbs album, Fetty?
Oh, man, I don't even know that one either. Like, it's a whole other culture. Like, I want to move to California. Like,
all right. Well, when we get off this podcast, go listen to that album. It's like it's one of my workout albums.
I can make that
like hardcore gangster rap.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted. Our intro music, I wanted to be more of like a trap type. And he said that the guy that my friend from high school, we both listen to rap, and he makes the music. He says your audience is not going to like that, and it turns out that the audience does like what he did end up making for that. So I don't know. We can listen to it. I was going to say I can make the soundtrack to your episode more of like more or less gangster rap, but I don't think
leave out the words
like
unless
that.
you want to get.
Yeah, well, I already have an explicit rating on this, so we can say whatever the fuck we want to a certain degree. So then, so you're.
I try not to use the bad words when I can.
Well, I'm trying to keep it real, and I'm also trying to keep it clean, and that's hard for me. I can't keep it real and keep it clean at the same time unless I really stop cursing in my regular life, and that's not going to happen, not even in front of my kids.
I was about to say, when you curse and you're in front of your kids, it just naturally comes out, and so you have to kind of cut it out, cold turkey.
Yeah, but I don't mind cursing in front of them either. Like, I don't care if other people.
Well, your kids are teenagers too, right?
Well, no, I mean, I got a 4-year-old.
Oh, you do?
And a second grader. And
how many children do you have?
I got 3.
Yeah, I got a little high since we started reading. And I kind of forgot where we were at. Relayfi.com/sons of CPAs. We have a URL.
With Relay, your clients get a smart operating account that includes up to 20 checking accounts without fees or minimums, and MasterCard debit cards that can be issued online in seconds.
That actually was a pretty good read right there. So we just signed on a new client. They're overseas. They're in the UK. They're starting a US arm, and we're setting them up on Relay as their bank and bill pay provider. They don't have a ton of bills, just different minimal things that we're going to handle for them. We're going to do it through Relay. We got single or multi-step approval rules to auto sync the paid bills back to the client's GL, which is in our case 0. It's refreshing and very profitable.
That's beautiful.
What about you?
We're trying to figure out a way to implement this because I do think it's going to save a bunch of time. The biggest problem with Zero right now is the online banking feeds, and when a feed goes down, it's a pain in the ass. Well, if you have an online bank that was designed with a direct feed, that in itself saves so much time. We sell the shit out of this app.
Closing arguments here?
I have nothing to say other than I'm glad that you're high and you told everyone that, because that makes me feel a lot better about my life. And I like Relay. We're going to use it more. You guys should too.
I think I make you feel better about your life. You see how bad things could be.
I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking.
So I think you should just visit relayfi.com/sons of CPAs. That's sons with an S SONS of CPAs with an S. CPAs. There's 3 S's in there. You can't get it wrong. Sons of CPAs. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't heard of Relay Financial, check it out.
These ad reads, I mean, this is a real ad. They're getting their money's worth. We have our own code. Please use the code, people. That's how we make money. So
the code doesn't make us any money. This ad was paid for up front. What it
the
does
more people
do, though,
who use the code, that means they're going to do our ad more.
Go to relayfi.com/sons of CPAs.
Figure out what my morals are these days. Yikes. So back to running a vertical, right? And getting into the stripper vertical.
No, I did not think about doing that at all.
You have a client that merges into that industry more or less. And
I have a couple clients in this, I mean, like bigger names in the space. Yeah.
So, and that's, I'm not looking at the smaller names because strippers individually probably don't make enough, to be.
Also, is that a PC term? Do people say that anymore? I think they're adult entertainers.
So entertainers in the entertainment world, I just had a conversation right before with somebody that is in that world, and that's exciting. Like he has rappers as his clientele too, and other entertainers, but that's, that's a whole other world too. But all of these are worlds, right? So getting into verticals, it should be something that you're interested in too. And are you interested in interior design?
Oh, I'm interested in interior design in the sense that I think it's cool what they do. And I actually don't have the brain for it. So I have a really difficult time, whether it's doing my own stuff or my own house or things like that. Or I'm not the most artistically creative person, but I know what I like, right? So
I can relate to that more than you know.
I do like interior design because if my house is a mess, my brain is a mess. I'm kind of OCD about cleaning. I'm kind of a minimalist in a way. I don't like clutter. I don't like knickknacks. I really like things clean and organized. And I like to feel good in my space. And if I'm in a space where that my surroundings don't feel right, then my brain does not function as well as it could. I mean, I'm into interior design in the sense that like they really create some beautiful things and it changes your mood, it changes your feeling, it changes how you look at the world. And I'm not into it like doing it at all. And talk about like unlocking value. They know, I feel weird charging somebody $200 to pick out a sofa. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't pick out a sofa. I have a hard time with that.
Either. Ours is broken. Like we have one of those mechanical ones and I can't get myself to pick one out because I'm always going to figure out, did I pick the wrong one? And this is the opportunity cost of knowing that there might be a better one out there that you haven't seen. And that's what I fear my whole life, that I pick the wrong thing. I can't so I appreciate what you're saying because I love like what interior design, the end result, but getting there, I could never do it. I hate working from home because it's a fucking mess. It's terrible. Like there's things just piled up everywhere. There's stuff that we used to use that I don't think we'll ever need to use, but I can't throw it away. And I don't know what to do. I need an interior designer, I think. That's what I was trying to get at. Maybe I could work from home when I have a better space in my brain can sit and relax because I'm just thinking about the stuff piled up and being in an office that's done for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Puts you in a really weird place.
It does. Yeah. So mental space is kind of where my head's at all the time. And that's why I think our vertical will eventually be psychiatrist because I need one personally. That's the guy that I was talking to about the entertainment industry. He plays guitar and he does things for his church, but he's not an entertainer. And he said it's not his place really to be talking about the creative aspect. He's talking about the business side of it. And I think that to a certain degree, it's like we're all frustrated artists in one way or another. And whatever we can do to make money, then we'll do it. But not all of us are frustrated artists, but I think I am. I'm a frustrated artist.
Yeah.
I always like the arts, liberal arts, the arts, and everything else.
Yeah. So I'm going through a giant shift in my attitude towards the arts. I realized that I'm just in this last year, I'm really starting to have this whole new appreciation for different art forms that I've never had before. And I've always had an appreciation for it, but it's a deeper level because I think because I've been in the grind for so long in my own life, 2 little ones and work, when I have an opportunity to go to an art museum, or when I have an opportunity to go to a concert or something like that, it really feels like a luxury. And then it kind of gets you thinking about the fact that it is a luxury. And if you have some allowance in your brain for that luxury, like, you're in a good place. And I see why it has this certain stigma of being a pretentious thing because of the fact that it is a luxury. And some people might have some sort of animosity towards that.
Ooh, that's a good observation. I never really thought of it like that. The reason it has the stigma is because I don't have the time to pay attention to this art. Why
Yeah,
are they spending so much money on it? But then
yeah,
I can appreciate it now if I have the time to appreciate it. There's a deeper level of human psychology to look at and why
yeah.
some people resent it versus and some people always think they resent it because they can't do it. And that's not always the case. Some people more or less resent it not because they can't do it, but because they don't have the time. And maybe that's to a certain degree
Yeah.
too. Is
Because it's
uh,
like that fifth level of Maslow's hierarchy, it's like
yes,
that creative, self-actualizing place that a lot of people can't get to because they have to have their basic needs met first. And if you're not able to achieve all of those things below there, you're not able to have that same level of appreciation for it.
where does money
And
fall on Maslow's hierarchy?
it falls into probably like the first or second, right? Gosh, you're gonna make me
Well,
rack my
we should
college
tell this
brain.
to my co-host because I always
The
say
safety, right? That's the second one.
I
Yeah.
always say to my co-host, it's about money until it's not. And that's the metaphor I'm trying to drive is
Yeah.
it is about money for our clients. It's about money for us. It's about money for everybody until it's not. And when it's not, then it's about them. It's about all of this fluffy stuff that he likes to talk about. But for him, it was never about the grind to build the firm. His dad built the firm and he's stepping in and he's just trying to figure stuff out. So he doesn't see the grind aspect of the money part of it. Maybe he does, but the next
A
conversation.
wise person once told me people who earned their own money are not afraid to spend money, and people who were given money or were raised with money are a little bit cheaper because they don't know how to make it. They don't
Ah,
know how to create it. They hold it to this high pinnacle of worth. They have a hard time wrapping their minds about the
where do
creation
Jews
of
fall in
it.
there? Because a lot of Jews, like me and him and others,
Yeah,
we have no problem making money. We have no problem talking about money. I have
yeah,
problems spending money sometimes, and I know how to make it, but I still have problems spending it.
yeah.
So where do we fall?
Um,
I'm
but
half
do you have
half the
problems spending
fence.
it on the things that you want to spend it
Absolutely not. And he doesn't either. Yeah,
on?
absolutely
I
not. I just
mean,
have problems finding value in everything, so
yeah,
I'm not necessarily cheap. I'm just more or
yeah,
less, I have to see the value before I spend a lot of money on it. And I will
yeah.
spend money on stuff, but balancing all that too and figuring out. So yeah, that's a good the Psychology of Money is a book that I got recently. It was recommended
Oh
to me.
yeah, I have that book.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't read it yet. But
So I
it's
just
sitting
got it.
on my
Well,
shelf.
let's start a book club. Me and you can read it.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. Yeah.
I do plan on reading that though. I
Put
think
that
it's
in my triage.
the maze in there. I'm always stuck in that maze. There's a maze on the cover. I get stuck in that maze sometimes and I can't pull myself out of it because I try to think my way through the maze. Sometimes you can't think your way through a money maze. So let's go to the interior design and let's go back to verticals. So
Okay.
first, how
Way to
do you
stay on track,
spell?
Scott.
I know. So how do you spell? And yeah, I can probably count the times how many I've tried to get us back on track and I can't.
Yeah.
How do you spell the word niche and niche?
Oh
Are they
gosh,
spelled the
spelling is
same?
like, I mean, spelling's like a foreign language to me. So niche
Well,
is Niece, right? No, Hmm. No, Niche
and how do you spell niche?
with a apostrophe thingy at the end. I don't know. Don't ask
Okay.
me spelling questions. That's not fair.
No, I pick on my co-host
I'm gonna
because
hang
he
up.
says niche, and I thought you said niche, but I heard you say niche
It
earlier.
is niche.
I
Yeah.
think they're both spelled Vertical. I think that's how they're both spelled because that's a common way of everybody saying it, and nobody has to argue about the pronunciation.
Mhm.
So verticals.
Um,
Let's let's go
yeah.
deep into verticals. You can go deeper with clients when you have a vertical.
Well, and I love when you have that cross alignment of like stuff that you're interested in. So you really, you get that personal fulfillment in serving certain verticals, right? And then also because you enjoy what you're doing, it services them as well, serves to their advantage.
if you're a user of what they're selling, then you can really appreciate it to another degree too. It's like we have a lot of clients that have comic book stores, and I like comic books. I like all that world. So that was one of my ideas. I have a lot of ideas for verticals to go into, but then we never have enough clients to say, let's just do this. Like we can't just get rid of all of our other clients too. So that's a
That's why
difficult.
the catch-all firm that I have is like nice because, you know,
Is that your
it kind of
incubator for verticals?
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. So Logistis is figuring out the logistics of verticals
Yeah.
for you. So the next one, what's your next vertical? Your next
I already
niche?
told you.
You did?
Yes, I did. That's how we
What
got
is
on fetty.
it?
The yeah, just accounting for digital assets. I dove down into the blockchain rabbit hole and I'm really having a hard time climbing back out of it. I'm
And
super
that's because you
frustrated.
have, do you, and so explain first, define digital asset, because it's, when I try to explain it to people, a lot of
Yeah.
times they don't know what I'm talking about. So what is a digital asset first?
I'm really new to this. You're going to have me talking about it. Don't quote me on all
You're
the
not an
stuff.
expert,
But
right? So
I'm
just
not an
preface,
expert.
yeah.
Yes, I'm trying to be. When I think of digital assets, I think that all that's encompassed in that. So not necessarily just NFTs. I also think of like the currencies and the stable coins and different technologies that are being developed, accounting technology in the space. So developing tech platforms and cryptocurrencies, then working with current cryptocurrencies, trading in digital assets, and accounting for those transactions.
So NFTs are art. Are you dealing with digital art?
Since our primary base here at our incubator is
Yeah.
creative agencies, we have a lot of graphic designers and creative talent that does deal with NFTs, buying, selling, trading.
So a
stuff.
non-fungible token is an NFT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I say digital assets, people immediately they go to NFT because that's the tangible. It's funny because it's not tangible, but it's the only tangible thing they can usually get to when they think of that.
Yeah.
And I try to bring it out of the spectrum to say anything that you can sell that has value, that is a passive source of income, is a digital asset. So it could be classes. So and I tried to bring it in because we have a new client that's an artist, and she sells classes to teach people how to sell their art. And I see that as her digital asset because she doesn't have to do anything with those. She just sells them and then also sells her art too. So it's like, is that a digital asset? Are the classes
I wouldn't think of it in terms of that. My definition might be different than your definition. And I think for me, it was kind of a catch-all. It was kind of a catch-all for like what I was trying to convey when I was talking to people about what I want to do. Now that might get refined or tweaked, or I might have a more narrow perspective on our description.
The next time we have you on, maybe I'll have a
Yeah.
co-host and we'll have a more detailed discussion about your new niche. But it's like, can you go vertical for creative agencies? If you say Logistis is for professional services creatives, isn't creatives a very good niche to be in? Very good vertical?
Yep. Yeah.
So why not Logistis for creatives?
So I've kind of branded that for a long time, like for creatives and creative startups. What happens with Logistis is a lot of people have always just come to me when they have an accounting problem and they want to get off on the right foot, right? Like we have this really complex accounting situation. We have no idea, we're the first of our kind doing something like this. Like, can you help us figure this out, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one of our clients wanted to send invoices out and get collections in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I found a software that would support that. And I had the Cannabis Cafe was one of our clients. It was the first national place where you could actually go consume cannabis, and then they would take your food order. First of its kind, never been any licensing issues for that. And so that was really a unique challenge in and of itself, as long as it's fun for us.
Then you become Logistis for uniques, and then you have a bunch of unique clients that all have unique problems. And then where do you make the most money on them? So then does it turn into
Well, you just charge a ton of money for it.
Well, right.
And I mean, with the people who have really special needs, like that's what I mean, you can't afford to not It's,
Sure.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Like
you
we're
charge
pretty
enough for
cookie
that.
cutter, except for what I call them projects, because eventually we want to get it streamlined enough where they can take it off our hands and do it internally. Like we don't want those kind of really complex accounting jobs for a long time. Those are our projects. And we do, we do periodic seat swaps in our company too, just to make sure that we are following a set of procedures that are in accordance with how we want to be as a firm, and do they align with like our ultimate vision, especially like I said, once you get into the verticals, like the interior design division is very much oriented at that, very specific about how we want to do things and what we
Seat
want to do.
swaps. Like, so
Yeah.
what's a seat swap? I just like the name.
So everybody needs to make sure that they can do other people's job if it's within their tier of what they're doing, right? So if you have two people working on a specific package, they should be able to jump into another client seamlessly, right?
Mhm.
And do the same work for that client without any assistance or little to no assistance.
Is it
And
stress testing
then
the firm when you do that? Like, is it stress testing? Like, if we lost somebody, would we be able to bring somebody else in?
it's a little bit of stress test, but also it's just to make sure that everything's aligned with how it should be. Stress test for that reason, but also, hey, is all your work set up perfect? There's so many benefits from it. The problem is when you don't have enough people who are doing the same type of work to seat swap. But other than that, periodically seat swapping a couple clients here and there. Not that you don't do like a full overhaul of all your clients. Just switch it up a little once in a while, make sure everything's running good, and make sure they're all doing their job, and then team will know if somebody else is dropping the
I've
ball.
been there. I just never labeled it seat swap. I like that. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. That was actually just on the fly right now. We don't have a technical term for it.
that is the technical term. You're going to take it over. Like, you've already said it on air. So
Yeah,
everybody knows what's going to find you on the corner. Oh, you're the seat swap
yeah.
lady. I'm doing that at my firm. No, that's not what I'm going to title this episode. It's not going to be seat swap. Although, like, I am like the host right now, and you swapped me in the beginning, and you were interviewing me, so this could be a metaphor for the episode as a seat swap. So yeah. So, well, I don't even want to talk about Bitcoin or crypto or all that. That's just above my pay grade. Like, I don't even understand. I understand all of it,
It's
but
all I want to talk about, Scott.
like it. I like the digital asset stuff, and I like the
Yeah.
NFT because it is something that I can think about and see. But whenever I get into the whole world of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, it's just, what's it going to be? Like, what I don't understand at this point is why it's like why a lot of people don't really understand anything about it, insist on talking about it. Like, that's what I don't get, is the
Yeah.
people that's like, pay me in Bitcoin. What the like, really? Like, do I have to pay you in Bitcoin? Is that what you want? Like, are
Because you can't go buy it with the money that I actually give.
yeah, I can't pay you, and then you could put the money in Bitcoin. Like, do you not understand this that much? Like, it's like gold, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
how I've always used the metaphor. It's
Pay
like,
me in
pay
a
me in
brick of
gold.
gold.
Like,
Deliver and
the
deliver.
next time they say pay me in Bitcoin, I'm just gonna hand them a handful, a fist of diamonds. Here, I'm gonna pay you in diamonds. It's the same thing, they're not a renew. It's not a renewable resource. It's not something
Yeah,
you
because
could.
you're Jewish. You got tons of diamonds laying around, right?
I don't, but I wish I did. Like, that was another part of the conversation for entertainers. It's like, can they write that off? Like, rappers wear diamonds like crazy. They got them on their teeth. Should they?
And
Can
the
they write
answer
it
to
off?
that is yes.
I think so. I think they
Yeah.
can't wear it on the street. If it's a chain that you couldn't and shouldn't wear on the street, then you should be able to write it off. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but that's a whole nother world too. Not this world. So, where's the future for your firm? I usually ask toward the end, like, what's the
Yeah.
future of the industry? But what's the future for your firm? Is it going to be just a boutique of different logistics, or what's your vision there?
So had you have asked me this before COVID, I would have said I want to grow it to be a big firm. And then COVID hit and we had to downsize a lot. And I was like, ooh, I like this. Like, it's less stress. It can be more fun because you can be more nimble and do different things. And so I was really enjoying that. So now I have logistics, which I think we're going to stay relatively small. I'm not going to be running a big team on that. But logistics for designers Now that I want to grow into a big company and, potentially figure out a way to add value to that as well, whether it's building, communities or starting a podcast. No, nothing. Too much work.
Well, but I can talk to you about
You know what
starting
I
a
mean.
podcast. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, accountants that have podcasts, I'll have a niche there. So,
Yeah, there you go.
well,
Yeah.
so legit, like, so the reason I'm not going to jump to your reason. I don't want to answer that,
Yeah.
but why would you want to?
Because it's such a high demand, right? There's
Okay,
so many people out there that need help. And
but isn't
we,
that the case with Logistis incubator? There's so many people that need help, or is there not enough in that?
there, yeah, I mean, you can have 1,000 of us, Scott, 1,000
Well, I don't
different
want to poke
accountants, and
holes, but
there
I
wouldn't be
think you're
enough
more
of us.
profitable. I think that you can command a higher price, and logistics for designers could be more profitable
Yeah,
than, and that's the way the angle that I'm looking at is, as you go vertical, you can go vertical with your price too, because
yeah,
you can be more profitable because you're offering a lot more value and you're
yeah,
going deeper. And then
yeah,
you can go get bigger because then you really have a handle on how the firm's going to grow and your capacity, and it's just there's not as many variables as doing everything for everybody. It's chaos in a firm that's an incubator that's doing everything.
yeah. So keep it small, keep it manageable, and then when you find something that you want to grow and build out because you're interested in that, then I think that's when you switch.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, and then you switch, and then you're like, wow, I can really help a lot of people out there in interior design and help them grow their business and help them unlock their own value and help them do so many different things that people don't necessarily think of accountants as being able to do. We've already shown that we can do that. And we already have waiting lists and we can't hire fast enough, and they're all good problems, and there's a whole lot of people out there that really need this. And then if
Isn't it
2008 happens
easier?
again and the housing market crashes and contractors are out of work, then it's like, then I'll just be able to lean into another vertical.
Right. Well, and then you kind of
Yeah.
turn the faucet on your highest leverage product, and it's like each of
Yeah.
your businesses can be a product. But at the end of the day, we're all helping people, and you can help them more, and you can be of more help and of more service, and we feel more confident about that if you have a servicing that can really help them, and specifically them. They're unique, in that they are interior designers. They're designers. Their problems. If when a new one comes to you and they talk to you about all of their problems, you can nod a lot because you know the answers to a lot of those things. I would think
Yeah,
because you
exactly. I mean, people come to us all the time, like, do you have a contract template for this? Yeah, of course. Here's our template, run it by your lawyer, and you're done. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars for that. So there's a lot of stuff that we offer to basically help you run your business and to help you grow and scale and diversify your revenue streams and all kinds of stuff. We are able to help them with all of that. And
Carbon's really leaned in a lot of that for us as firms. Carbon has helped. They've got a lot of content for accountants, the
yeah,
Carbon magazine, and to a
they
certain
just came
degree.
out with their carbon community, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of communities for accountants. Tax Twitter, but you and I aren't on social. So it's like, can we go
Yeah.
on to a community that's focused in that Carbon community? It's like, okay, we're safe in here. Maybe we're all Carbon users, but we're safe in there. We don't have to be distracted with all of these other things. Like when I go on Twitter, it's like time suck. Like, what is
Yeah.
going on in here? This is never going to change. And that's only because I get pulled into other things. It's not what anybody else is doing. It's like I get distracted. So
But I tend to gravitate towards communities where I feel like I'm over my head. Sometimes when I'm in communities where I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about, I'm like, oh, I know I'm right where I need to be.
can it be more or less like scaffolding where there's some people in there that really can help
Yeah.
you, and then there's others below you that you can really help within
Mhm.
that one community? I think that's a lot more fulfilling to me because
Yeah.
then everybody can help everybody. Twitter's just a mob. Like Twitter's just
Yeah. Twitter's
a
just an angry mob of
yeah.
people.
I don't know if
Yeah.
everybody's angry though. Like when I go in there, I do like I tend to focus way too much on the positive for any part of my life. So it's like everybody tends to be really happy there, but then I look
Huh.
at, that's
Maybe
at
I
least,
have the wrong group in Twitter.
or maybe you're using the wrong
Twitter's
Twitter app.
always
Maybe I have a different Twitter. Maybe mine's a little less blue than yours. Yours is a little too blue or red. Do you use the red Twitter or the blue Twitter? right?
I don't know. I'm in California.
Yeah. Well, there's all of these. We talked about influencers too, and it's like, every one of these apps have people with a lot of followings, but then I look at it like this. You've got Ashton Kutcher. The guy was an actor, but he's also like a personality. I think he was one of the Twitter people, like one of the first like people that just played around on Twitter, right? Like, and I don't know, like I don't know enough about that place to even talk about it, but I think like to a certain degree, you got a lot of like in a podcast world. What about who's a popular podcaster? A lot of them are stand-up comedians, right? I think. I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of actually.
Maybe that's why yours is so positive. Maybe you follow all the stand-up comedians.
I know. I don't like to be negative. I don't like to even go on the negative tracks. So
no, I'm so far from that.
So let's wrap up with some more big talk. Did you do any drugs in Big Sur?
Oh, I knew you were gonna ask that. I just knew it, because why not, right? I did not do any drugs that aren't illegal in California.
Did your husband?
No.
I
No
didn't do any
drugs.
drugs in Big Sur, but I've never been to Big Sur, so I can't really.
But the place we stayed, there was a bunch of cannabis being grown, and they had just abandoned it. And they were like, like whatever.
Wow.
Like this giant cannabis field that, like, as we're driving up, people just didn't care
Did
about.
people just stop on the side of the road and grab some cannabis, or did they not know what to do with it? Like
pretty much could have, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know what to do with it. Like I guess like you'd smoke it, right?
I know, but it's like, who's even got stuff to smoke it with?
Oh man.
Get an apple. Got apple.
You could, or a socket wrench if you're driving. I could probably think of a few different ones to smoke it out, but I wasn't there. I didn't have a lighter either, so usually don't have a lighter on me. You need that first to be able to.
Way far up the hill, away from no stores. You're like gonna pull Bible paper out.
Well, one day when I'm in Santa Barbara.
Not one day, in January.
I'm gonna be in California. That's exciting. Yeah, I'm excited. I love that. I didn't get into the Chili Peppers. But that's my whole world. It's like the sun may rise in the east, but settle in the final location of California. Like that's the sun sets there. And I think I'm gonna end up dying in California because that's where my sun will set. That's where the metaphor I'm using.
Yeah, it's great.
So where can anybody find you? If you spend any time on LinkedIn for that?
I do actually spend a good amount of time on LinkedIn. So I think it's like Marissa Logistis on LinkedIn.
Marissa Logistis. Oh my gosh, you got a third last name? What's the reason?
Jones is taken. I should have stuck with McKinney.
I know.
I would have been able to have that. Marissa McKinney LinkedIn. Yeah, whatever.
All right. Well.
All right. I bored you to death.
I have not. I thought this was a great episode, and it was just me. Sometimes I didn't get bored at all during this. So thank you,
Scott.
Thank you.
So proud of you.
I'll do a fake round of applause if you want to. I'll put a fake audience. So
I want some woohoos.
Yeah. We'll do some woohoos within the applause. It's got to actually be applause. I don't want just woohoos like in the back. Awesome. All right, Marissa.
All right. Talk to you later.